the benefit of serving Krishna as a child is more than serving Krishna as our father, because then we get a chance to serve, just like we serve our children. So the whole devotional service is based on serving. So Prabhuji, please take over. I just wanted to
Okay.
complete my sentence, and because we just very immature, but we want to hear from you.
All right. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namam Vishnupada Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashvat Deshatarine. Namam Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Niti Namane. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namane. Sivashavanavi Devi Daitaye Kripapde Krishna Sambandha Vijnanatayine Prabhave Namaha. Madhurujjala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktidab Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Namaste Gauravani Sri Murte Dina Tarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harini. Manchakalpataro Vyasa Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namam हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पंगोर्वमंदमतर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदाम्बोजौ श्री राधा मदन मोहनम दिव्यात् बृंदारण्य कल्पत्रमद श्रीमद्रत्नांगर सिंहासनस्थो श्री राधा शिल गोविंद देव पृष्ठालिपि सेविमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन् रासरसारंभि वंशीवत ततस्थित कर्षण पेनुष्मैर गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीष्णा वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय ते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिशे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु सॉरी पंचतत्वा वृंदाय पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्ति शक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद एवरीबॉडी टुगेदर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रील गुरुदेव की जय गुणताय दादा के राज की गोविंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय सुखदेव गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल परपोर्ट्स की जय all glories to assembled bodies Hare Krishna all glories to assembled bodies Hare Krishna all glories to assembled bodies all glories to Shri Guru and Gaurav Bhakti. So we are reading from Canto 7 chapter 1 text 31. Yesterday's verse I will just read the translation text 30. Many persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Krishna with great attention and giving up sinful activities. This great attention may be due to lusty desires, inimical feelings, fear, affection, and devotional service. I shall now explain how one receives Krishna's mercy simply by concentrating one's mind upon him. And then the famous verse was quoted in the beginning of the purport. Vikriditam vrajavadu bhir idam cha vishno shraddhan vito anushrunayad atavarnayed yaha bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogam asva apahinoti achirena dhira. If a bona fide listener hears of Krishna's pastime with the gopis, which seem to be lusty affairs, the lusty desires in his heart, which constitute the heart disease of the conditioned soul, will be vanquished. And he will become a most exalted devotee of the Lord. If one hears of the gopis, of the lusty desires with Krishna, becomes free from lusty desires. Certainly the gopis who approach Krishna become became free from all such desires. Similarly, Shishupal and others were also very much envious of Krishna, who constantly thought of Krishna, Krishna became free from envy. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda were fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness because of affection. When the mind is somehow or other fully absorbed in Krishna, the material part is very soon vanquished. And the spiritual part, attraction to Krishna, becomes manifest. This indirectly confirms that if one thinks of Krishna enviously, simply because of thinking of Krishna, he becomes free from sinful reactions and thus becomes a pure devotee. Example of this are given in the following verse. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam
Naram Namaskritya.
Naran Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Jayo Mudirayet
Tato Jamudirayet.
Nashtapray Shinvatam Swakata Krishna
Srunvatam Swagata Krishna.
Krishna
Shravana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha.
Hridyantasto Abhadrani
Hridayantastu Bhadrani.
Vidunoti Surat Satam
Vijanoti Suhritsatam.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki.
So now we are coming to verse 31. You have textbooks before you. You please repeat after me. Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamso
Gopya Kamad Bhayat Kamso.
Veshat Chaitya Dayor Nripaha
Deshat
Deshat Chaityayo Nipaha.
Sambandhat Krishnaya Snehat
Sambandhat Krishnaya Sneha.
Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vipho.
Yunam Bhaktya
Vayam Vibho.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. My dear King Yudhishthira, the gopis by their lusty desires, Kamsa by his fear, Shishupala and other kings by envy, the Yadus by their familial relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we, the general devotees, by our devotion service, have obtained the mercy of Krishna. Of course, here our Narada Muni addressed himself as we, the general devotees. So you can see how humble he is. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Different persons achieve different types of mukti. Sayujya, Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sarshti, according to their own intense desire, which is called Ava. Thus it is described here that the gopis, by their lusty desires, which were based upon their intense love for Krishna, became the most beloved devotees of the Lord. Although the gopis at Vrindavan expressed their lusty desires in relationship with the paramour, Parakya Rasa, they actually had no lusty desires. This is significant of the spiritual advancement. Their desires appear lusty, but actually they are not lusty. They are not the lusty desires of the material world. Chaitanya Charitamrita compares the desires of the spiritual and the material world to gold and iron. Both gold and iron are metal, but there is a vast difference in their value. The lusty desires of the gopis for Krishna are compared to gold, and material lusty desires are compared to iron. Kamsa and other enemies of Krishna merged into the existence of Brahman. But why should Krishna's friends and devotees have the same position? Krishna's devotees attain the association of the Lord as his constant companions, either in Vrindavan or in Vaikuntha planets. Similarly, although Narada Muni wanders in the three worlds, he has exalted devotion for Narayan, Aishwaryaman. The Vrishnis and Yadus and the father and mother of Krishna and Vrindavan all have familial relationship with Krishna, Krishna's foster father and mother in Vrindavan. However, are more exalted than Vasudeva and Devaki. So such a beautiful verse which gives a whole perspective of what it means to have affection for Krishna or relationship with Krishna. Now with Kamsa, that has to be understood very clearly. He was having Krishna as his enemy. He was meditating of Krishna 24 hours. And therefore he merged into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. Because his affection, his relationship is pratikul, not anukul. Whereas in the material world, many Mayavadis, they also merge into the Brahma Jyoti, but not of Krishna, but of Mahavishnu's effulgence. Therefore, they just go there and they think they are advanced because they get a experience of the reflection of actually merging into Brahman. Like Kamsa never fell down into the material world. But these Mayavadis, they think they are liberated. Through their word jugglery, they fall down into the material. Aryuya krichena parama padama patantyado anadrita. This famous verse supports that point of view. Therefore, in the next verse, it says, Katamopi na svena syad panchanam purusham prati. Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshaya. Some or other one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. Then by one of the 5 different processes mentioned above, one can return home back to God. Atheists like King Vena, however, being unable to think of Krishna's form in any of the 5 ways, cannot attain salvation. Therefore, one must somehow or other think of Krishna, whether in a friendly way or inimical way. This is a beautiful, like a point. Krishna Niveshaya. Let our minds be attracted to Krishna's transcendental form. If you are inimical, of course, you'll end up in the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord, never to come back to the material world. But if you are favorably inclined, you'll end up in the Vaikuntha planets. Many of the 4 types of relationship. What are the 4 types of relationship? Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sashti. These are the 4 types of relationship. Purport to the second verse, impersonalists and atheists always try to circumvent the form of the Krishna. Great politicians and philosophers of the modern age even tried to banish Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. Consequently, for them, there is no salvation. But Krishna's enemies think, here is Krishna, my enemy, I have to kill him. They think of Krishna in his actual form and thus they attain salvation. Devotees, therefore, who constantly think of Krishna form are certainly liberated. The only business of the Mayavadi atheists is to make Krishna formless. And consequently, because of this severe offense at the lotus feet of Krishna, they cannot expect salvation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this connection, Tena Shishupala Adi. Yes? Who is that?
Sorry, Prabhuji, just calling my daughter.
Who is it?
No, Prabhuji, I was just calling my daughter. Sorry, and I was not muted. I'm just muting myself now.
Okay. Tena Shishupaladi Vinna Pratikula Bhavam Didishu Yena Iva Narakam Jatiti Bhavaha. Except for Shishupal, those who go against the regulative principles cannot attain salvation and are surely destined for hellish life. The regulative principle is that one must always think of Krishna whether as a friend or as an enemy. This is the conclusion. We must think the form of the Lord. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam We are doing all this hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, repeating, hearing. Why? Why? So that we can remember Krishna. Every day we go in front of the Lord for darshan arati and so on and so forth. But why are we doing that? So that we can think of Krishna at the time of death or all the time. Better all the time. So at the time of death, automatically Krishna will come into our mind and heart. So this form of the Lord is what is Prabhupada's mission. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatara. Especially in the Western world, there is no idea that the Lord has a transcendental form. They try to make it Nirvishesha, Nirakar, and all these yoga teachers who came to America from India, 99%, they only consider that Krishna, ultimate truth, is Nirvishesh, Nirakar. Even you are Nirakar, Krishna is Nirakar. So how will they get salvation? It's not possible. They get some sort of a salvation in the mode of goodness because of some touch with the Vedic understanding. But the idea is they will only understand the Vedic literature because they are not under the guidance of pure devotees. To really understand what is Nirvishesh, Nirakar, and Nirguna means. Pure devotee, like Prabhupada, he established Nirguna means no qualities composed of three modes of nature. Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took great trouble to go to South India and to discover Brahma Samhita. And in Brahma Samhita, it is very clearly mentioned. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. You see, Krishna is the cause of all causes. And it is not easy to understand unless you get the mercy. Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata. One who is very fortunate will get that seed of devotion. Not everybody. Even in India, so many people are worshipping Krishna in various ways. Unless they are connected to a proper Vaishnava Sampradaya, it is more or less they are worshipping Krishna for mukti, salvation, merging into Brahma, merging into Krishna. They have no idea what is the sweetness of devotional service. They don't even think and worry about devotional service to the Lord, which is an eternal function of the soul. So, Nirvishesha means no speciality, no material speciality, yes, but spiritual speciality is a supreme absolute truth, and we are atomic nature. Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanat. We are minute and Krishna is supremely great. And Nirakar. Akar means form. And generally our experience of Akar is Akar, forms that are formed due to the three modes of material nature. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. All our forms are made with three combinations. But he is beyond the three modes of nature. Therefore, he is Nirakar, it's called. No material form, but spiritual form. Now, all these things can be understood only in the company of his pure devotees. When one is connected to a pure devotee and properly initiated and takes training from him, how to remember, hear about Krishna. Remembrance will come when our hearing and chanting becomes perfect. The more perfect it becomes, the remembering becomes very natural. To always think of Krishna. This is our good fortune. So therefore, I was thinking, today I will just go through chapter 13 of Jaiva Dharma. It's a very interesting verse. A lot of things have been explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. 1 minute. Let me see. Okay. I will read it to you. Brajanath, one of the personalities of of Jaiva Dharma. Prabhu, I am facing a problem. He is addressing to Babaji, who is his guru, which I will tell you about later. First, please explain to me, if the Jiva is a pure spiritual entity, how did he become entangled in this miserable material world? This is the subject matter we are dealing with in this chapter. Babaji smiled and said, Saruparthair hinan nijasuka paran Krishna vimukhan arer maya dandyan guna nigada jalai kalayati tata stulair lingay tvi vidavaranai klesha nikarair mahakarmat lanair nayati patitan swarga dirayu. Dasamula Shiksha, text 6. By his original nature, the Jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna. His Swarup Dharma is service to Sri Krishna. Bhagavan's illusory energy punishes those Jivas who are opposed to him and who have given up their constitutional Dharma, becoming absorbed in material enjoyment. She binds them in the ropes of the three modes of material nature, Sattva, Rajas, Tama, cover them with gross and subtle bodies, puts them in the miserable cycle of karma, and forces them to suffer happiness and distress in heaven and hell. Innumerable jivas appear from Baladev Prabhu to serve Vrindavan Bihari Sri Krishna as his eternal associates in Goloka Vrindavan. And the others appear from Sri Krishna to serve the Lord of Vaikuntha, Sri Narayan, the spiritual sky. Eternally relishing rasa, engaged in the service of their worshipable Lord. They always remain fixed in their constitutional position. They always strive to please Bhagavan and are always favorable to him. By virtue of the spiritual Shakti, they have the strength to stay fixed in their devotion, and they have no connection with the material energy. In fact, they are unaware that there is an illusory energy called Maya. Since they reside in the spiritual world, Maya stays far from them and does not affect them at all. Always absorbed in the bliss of serving their worshipful Lord, they are eternally liberated and are free from material happiness and distress. Their life is love alone, and they are not even conscious of miseries, death, or fear. There are also innumerable atomic conscious jivas who emanate from Karanodakshai Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who from Karanodakshai Mahavishnu's glance upon his Maya Shakti. Since these jivas are situated next to Maya, they perceive her wonderful workings. Although they have all the qualities of the jivas that I have already described, they are very weak because of their minute and marginal nature. Sometimes they become inclined to look to the spiritual world, but sometimes to the material world. In this marginal condition, the jiva becomes debilitated because at that time he has no spiritual strength from his worshipable Lord's mercy. The spiritual strength comes from the worshipable Lord's mercy. Among these unlimited jivas, those who want to enjoy Maya become engrossed in mundane sense gratification and enter the state of eternal bondage. On the other hand, the jivas performing Chit Anushilanam of Bhagavan receives spiritual Shakti, Chit Bala, by his mercy and enter the spiritual world. Baba, it is our great misfortune that we have forgotten our service to Sri Krishna and have become bound in the shackles of Maya. Only because we have forgotten our constitutional position are we in this deplorable condition. So here in Jaiva Dharma, very clearly is explained where does the jiva comes from, especially in the material world. So this is quite normal. We become strong only by the mercy, Chit Shakti. What is it called? Yes, Chit Bala, by the spiritual potency of the Lord. And we become weak when we don't receive this Chit Bala. Since Maya cannot give Chit Bala, Maya can only bewilder us. That's all the function of Maya. And this bewilderment happens when we are actually, what is it called? We are under the control of Maya's inferior nature, and the spiritual energy of the soul is practically finished, vanquished. And therefore, we stay in this material world for many, 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 many innumerable millions of lifetimes. So to get back this strength, we have to be connected to Krishna. We have to remember Krishna. This Krishna conscious movement is so glorious, which Prabhupada has established this planet, which according to the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is to revive this original state of mind, which is pure. In the material world, when we are controlled by Maya, it is giving both subtle and gross body. And we are not this body, we are neither the gross body nor the subtle body. But in the spiritual world, Krishna's body, there is no difference between inside and outside. His body, mind, his soul, everything is one piece. Similarly, when the spirit soul is in the spiritual world, his body is also one. Therefore, his mind, soul, everything is connected 100% to Krishna's desires, fulfilling Krishna's desires. After all, the gopis, the gopas, they all have bodies. They have senses. It's not like they are without bodies. They are not like a cloud hanging in the air. No. They have bodies and senses. But their bodies and senses are so pure that they never divert their bodies and the mind, anything from Krishna thought. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing this mundane song in the Rath Yatra, and he was singing the song that, oh, we are going to, what is it called? We will meet against the banks of the Reva River, and we go back to that place. This is what Radharani's song is. She was not happy to see, she was definitely happy to see Krishna in Kurukshetra, but the feelings which they experienced in Vrindavan was not possible in Kurukshetra. Therefore, she was inviting Krishna to come to Vrindavan on the banks of Jamuna. There they are in their own terrain. Loving exchanges can happen very intensely. So, but this verse came into the mind of Rupa Goswami. He observed the movements of the lips of the Lord and immediately wrote this famous verse, which tells that Radharani wants to meet Krishna in Vrindavan. So now the point is, how can we remember Krishna like that? When we become Manobhishta servants like Rupa Goswami to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means we are first class servants. First class servants is Manobhishta. He knows the mind of the master before it is told. Second class servants is, even if it is told, only he will do that. Only after telling. Third class servant, even if it is told, he will hesitate. Fourth class, you have to forget him. If you say anything, he will just go away somewhere and he will never see him again. So minimum is second class. Do what is told. But best is first class. But first class servant means one has to become Manobhishta of Guru and Krishna. To do what Guru wants. What is Guru's and Krishna's plan is to reclaim the fallen conditioned soul and take them back home, back to God. So he conducts his life in such a way that this becomes the foremost thing in his mind. Then the mind becomes constantly advance and become attached to Krishna. Always thinking of Krishna. What is his desire? What is his plan? And see every situation, good, bad, every situation is favorable for such a devotee. Like Prabhupada was seemingly had a heart attack in San Francisco. He was going alone. 1 year he was telling he was loitering in New York. But he was not loitering like us. When we loiter, we end up going into a drug addiction or alcohol or go to a bar or flirt around with the opposite sex. No, Prabhupada was not like that. He was thinking of how to execute the desire of his Guru. That was his foremost desire. And in any condition, when things were happening after that 1 year, or things were not happening during that 1 year, he was always remembering Krishna. There are famous bhajan tapes. He had a small tape recorder. He would put it on and record it, his own bhajans, and then he will put it on to replay it back and to hear his own bhajans. He was not just fascinated by his own voice, but he was fascinated by the substance of the bhajan. The bhajans, feelings of Shuddha Sattva as expressed by the pure devotees. Almost all the songs. Krishna, Kirtana, Gana, Nartana. Srinivas Acharya has written this. And so many songs. Nityananda Prabhu's songs, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's song, Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira. All these are pure Shuddha Sattva moods of Acharyas. And therefore we have to sing these songs. When will that mood enter into our heart and mind? They are also singing like that. They are also thinking, when will that mood come into my heart? Unfortunate I am. They are thinking they are unfortunate, even though they are the most fortunate who can write such songs. Therefore, it takes quite some endeavor and quite some transcendental association. It is basically based on association. By good association, you get everything. All your desires become fulfilled. But by not from the best association, you may not get the same thing. You'll get something mixed, or you practice yoga and meditation, something mixed. But it will not be the real thing which will make us free from the cycle of birth and death. Not only that, is only a side effect. The real thing is loving attachment to Krishna. Always thinking of Krishna's pleasure. That, like it's mentioned, if you go further, Jai and Vijay were cursed by the Brahmins, the Kumaras, the sages. And they were cursed to go to become Asuras. But they also got blessings from the Kumaras only for 3 births. And elsewhere also it is mentioned they had the choice of 7 births as devotees and 3 births as demons. They preferred to take the position of a demon so that they can fulfill the Krishna's desire of fighting. They can do full justice in that form. So these are all, you and I cannot make a desire, choose a desire to become demons. We are already demoniac. What can we do? We can only pray to the Lord. Mama Janmani Janmani Shvare Bhavatat Bhakti Rohaitu Kito. Na Dhanam, na Janam, na Sundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kame. Mama Janmani Janmani Shvare Bhavatat Bhakti Rohaitu. This is the constant prayer. Not be overwhelmed by everything external, which is quite normal in the material world. This is going to happen like that. But if we are fortunate to get the association of pure devotees and hear Harikatha from them, and ourselves doing the bhajan and reading these beautiful scriptures which Prabhupada has left, and the other acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has left, if we hear and try to meditate and try to associate with devotees to sit and discuss such subject matters, then we are making progress slowly, slowly, slowly. Ado Shradha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Narta Nivritti Nishta Ruchi Rati Asakti. That's when Bhajaniya becomes more prominent than Bhajan. Then comes Bhav. There are 2 levels of Bhav. One is Bhav before Prema, and there is another level is called Bhava after Prema. Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Bhava, that comes there also. So first, this level of Bhava has to come. Whatever service we do must be infused with flavor of a relationship, sambandha. Therefore, when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, we should chant with sambandha gyan. Otherwise, simply chanting Hare Krishna can only produce pious results. Sambandha gyan. I am eternal servant of Krishna. This is our sambandha. Should always remember this verse. This establishes the sambandha. Not yet fructified. It is like a flower, and soon the flower will become a fruit. But in the flowering stage, we don't know. Sometimes we have plants here, Karela plant. So many flowers are coming, but they are male flowers. They will not give you any Karelas. It has to be female flowers. I am learning quite some things from our Malis. That I am thinking every flower will give a fruit. No. And if sometimes the earth is too strong, too powerful, the flower will come, a small fruit will come, then it becomes dissolved. The earth has to become a little bit weaker. Then a lot of love, this Loki will come. Last year also, we had to wait for such a long time before the fruits came. So similarly, when we realize our fallen condition state, and then in that fallen condition state, it becomes the place of progress. I will read it to you something else. Just 1 minute. The independent Jiva is a beloved servant of Krishna. This is from Jaiva Dharma. And thus Krishna is kind and compassionate towards him. Seeing the minute misfortune of Jiva, he misuses his independence and becomes attached to Maya. He chases after him, weeping and appears in the material world to deliver him. Sri Krishna is an ocean of compassion. His heart melting with mercy for the Jivas manifests his Achintya Leela in the material world, thinking that his appearance will enable the Jiva to see his nectarian pastime. However, the Jiva does not understand the truth about Krishna's pastimes, and even after being showered by so much mercy. So, Krishna then descends in Navadip in the form of Guru, and he personally describes the supreme process of chanting his name, form, qualities, pastime, and personally instructs and inspires the Jiva to take to this path by practicing it himself. Baba, how can you accuse Krishna of being at fault in any way when he is so merciful? His mercy is unlimited, but our misfortune is lamentable. What a beautiful way of expressing by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Brajanath is asking, is Maya Shakti the cause of our misfortune? Then would the Jivas have to suffer like this if the omnipotent and omniscient Sri Krishna had kept Maya away from them? Babaji, Maya is a reflected transformation of Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti. And it is like a fiery furnace where the Jivas who are not qualified for Krishna's seva are chastised and made fit to the spiritual world. Maya is like is Krishna's maidservant. In order to purify the Jivas who have turned against Krishna, she punishes them, gives them appropriate therapy, and purifies them. The infinitesimal Jiva has forgotten that he is an eternal servant of Krishna. For this offense, Maya, taking the form of a witch, Vishachi, punishes him. This material world is like a jail, and Maya is the jailer who imprisons the estranged Jivas and punishes them. A king constructs a prison for the benefit of the subjects. And in the same way, Bhagavan has shown his immense mercy towards the Jivas by making this prison like material world and appointing Maya as a custodian. So there's so many beautiful things to know about why this material world is created, how we are here. All these things, truth has to be understood. This is part of the education of developing pure bhakti. If you don't understand all these things, it's very difficult to come to the platform of pure bhakti. We think, so why I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I must be already a pure devotee. That's what a Kanishta Adhikari thinks. But Uttam Adhikari, he has the best realization. He thinks he is not a devotee. He's a fallen soul. He's struggling in this material world. But a Kanishta Adhikari, he has overconfidence. He thinks he is the best of all the devotees. Self-centered. So at this point, I'll stop it. If you have any questions or comments, please ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Dandot Pranam, Prabhuji. It is and it was very nice every time hearing you. Only I could not speak all the time because of my early morning activities in the job. But still, I think Shamarasika keeps continuing with the flow. But it was really pressing and making us charged whenever you speak and keep us continuous into this moment and bhakti, I can say. I don't have any questions as such, but one small question, like from the point of neophyte, I would like to just put this question. If like association and chanting you mentioned at the end of your class, so how one can, because at this stage there are many ways of Maya, but how the neophytes can stay or try to stay in the association at the same time chanting in the pure way, what you suggested just now. So I think if some address will definitely help everyone, all parents as well on the call.
See, the point is, in the neophyte stage, is difficult to understand the intricacies because of his big false ego that I am a great devotee. The neophyte is as that. Kripa karo Vaishnava Thakur sambandha janiya bhajite bhajite abhimano avatu. This abhiman which we have, oh, we are great devotees. We are devotees. We are going to go back home, back to God, chant 16 rounds. It's wonderful. That enthusiasm is also important. But actually, we have to become free from abhiman. That only comes when you associate with very advanced devotees, Uttama Bhagavatas. Prabhupada had no abhiman that he was the best of the devotees. Never. We have seen during his presence in this world and by hearing his classes, you can see he was always very humble. Very, very humble. Sometimes he would patiently listen to sometimes all the craziness which his disciples are doing or talking about to him. He would patiently listen. He knows fully well they are not well informed, they are ignorant. But because of his patience, that quality of patience also rubs on the neophytes. So he will get this little spiritual strength, like Chit Bala, like from Krishna it comes to the living entity. That's why they stay in the spiritual world, they never fall from this spiritual world into the material world. Similarly, if we are getting some strength by the mercy of Guru's association and serving him and hearing him about the process of Krishna consciousness and remain steady in spite of all the difficulties. Difficulties will come. It is anticipated. As soon as you surrender to Krishna, Maya is all becoming 1,000,000 times more active to disturb our mind. Before, when we are under the control of Maya, we think everything is wonderful. Even though we are disturbed, we have to work very hard, we have to do so many things, but still we don't think that we are actually in a fallen condition. It gives us a false sense of confidence. Nowadays, they have motivation lectures. They say you should be confident. Confident of what? On what platform? On the platform of Maya, if you're confident, you'll be more intensely engaged in Maya. But if you have got spiritual confidence, then you will see that you're insignificant, the atomic particle of Krishna. Mahabhagavas act on that platform. So that is the platform when our chanting and hearing becomes a little bit substantial. But we have to go through the stages, Kanishtadhikari to Madhyamadhikari. Madhyamadhikari is when one doesn't commit any offenses, offenseless stage. And he becomes liberated from the three modes of natural nature. And then only he enters into Shuddha Nam, Shuddha Sattva. When the Shuddha Nam descends on the tongue, on the mind, when thinking of Krishna is very natural for such a devotee. He can never forget Krishna. In the beginning stage, in the Kanishta stage, we may be so confident about oneself, but most of the time we are thinking of so many things, money, this, job, so wife, children, you cannot help it. And sometimes we justify, well, it has in connection with Krishna, utility is the principle. We use so many quotations. But what is deep within our heart, only Krishna knows. So, but if you take every situation as a servant of Krishna, then we are most fortunate. Doesn't matter, even in the material world, we are married, we have children, we are servants of all of them. We have taken the responsibility not to lord it over them, but to become a servant and to serve Krishna in that position, to help them, guide them, and become purified ourselves in the process. I hope I have answered your question somewhat.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. But again, like comparing with the neophyte, if someone is trying to get into devotion, so how can be the approach from their point of view? Like trying to chant few rounds and then again trying to associate in the temple, outside the temple. So, what message you would like to give on that?
See, the point is, I was traveling for 7 years alone in America. For some time I was with devotees, but most of the time I was traveling alone. But I would always put Prabhupada's tapes and hear it all the time, throughout the day. And I remember, because of long stay in the temple and training in the temple and the brahmacharya ashram, exactly when the sun sets, I don't know the time also. Kiba Jayo, Jayo Gora Chanda. Prayers come on in my mind. And suddenly I look at the time, oh, it's 7 o'clock. It's time for evening arati. You see, this sort of feelings will come when one is trained up nicely. Morning time when we get up, we are thinking of Guru and Krishna and chanting Samsara Dava prayers, Brahma Muhurta time.
Yes.
So this comes from a long period of training. Like everything else, if you don't become an engineer overnight, in your 9th grade, you were not an engineer, but maybe after 12th grade, 13th grade, when you got into graduation, then you're more or less trained how to conceive yourself as with that goal of life as to become an engineer. So everything in the material world also takes time. So spiritual world also takes time, but that time there, it's not like cannot be calculated material. It can happen in a moment's. Prabhupada said, in one moment, as soon as you surrender to Krishna, in that very moment, you will attain perfection. Full surrender, 100%. Not 5%, 10%, 20%. Full surrender. In one lecture, Prabhupada said, it came in the YouTube also. Sarva dharman parityaja mame. How did Arjuna? He was confused. And when Krishna says Sarva dharman parityaja, he had to give up all dharmas. The dharma of relationship with his grandfather Bhishma and his teacher Dronacharya, and with all the cousins, this, that. All dharmas he has to forget about that. Mame kam sharanam praja. Only is doing that which pleases Krishna. And many times in the middle also he was hesitating. He was to kill. Krishna said, now shoot an arrow at Karna. But Arjuna was trying to tell him, but Karna has no weapons. He's on the ground. We are on the chariot. Then Krishna had to remind him, if you don't kill him now, when Karna will get up on the chariot, you will not be able to defeat him. So now is the time. So in the battle of Kurukshetra, in the Mahabharata, a lot of chal or cheating was used by Krishna to fulfill his mission. And the devotees have to surrender. Even Yudhishthira Maharaj had to tell a lie. He was forced to tell a lie by Krishna. Because everybody was so proud of their own good qualities and vows and different things which they have in their own head. Bhishma also had his own. Everybody was having some attachment to their own dharma, their own values of life. But Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Braja, that Braja is still mak ekam sharanam, like the Brajavasis. Braja is sometimes explained as by our acharyas, like the Brajavasis. Their surrender to Krishna was complete. 100% complete. The gopis never thought of anything else besides going to that place where Krishna is playing the flute. The middle of the night, can you imagine? There were no lights on the street or anything like that. They had to go through that. They could not even dress themselves properly. Everything was topsy-turvy. Krishna had to redecorate them. Because their only goal was to please Krishna. Maam ekam sharanam. That's why They are the epitome of example of one who is surrendered 100%. Therefore, Krishna says, Napparayaham. I cannot repay this debt which you have created. So that is the meaning of Sharanam Bhajan. So when that happens, then everything will come. Any other comment?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Jai Ho.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. All glories to
Jai
Sri
Ho.
Prabhupada. It
Jai
was
Ho.
such a nice class, fully in the rasas of the association with the Lord in different rasas, and your quotes from Jaiva Dharma also elevated the discussion to an absolutely wonderful level, transcendental level, pure devotional service level. I wanted to ask about this the rasas, rasas, 12 rasa primary rasas, but in bhai is bhai a rasa, and I know that the Bhishma Pitamaha was in the
No,
Virya rasa.
that is Virya, Viraras.
Virya,
That's
that
not
is
Bhai.
okay. So Viryas will attain Vaikuntha, but Bhairas,
Yes.
but Bhairas,
Bhaya is Bhaya. There's nothing like Bhayaras. Among the 12 ras, there is no mention of Bhayaras.
oh, there is no
That is when Kamsa was afraid. He was afraid of Krishna because of his inimical thoughts.
okay.
And therefore, he got liberation into the Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah. So the Bhaya and this Matsyarya, the envy, these two are not in the 12 rasas.
No, not at all.
Oh,
I never heard of it.
okay. Okay, that's very nice. So nice, bro. Yeah, and yes, that it's so
It's
nice.
mentioned here clearly. It's mentioned where the gopis with lustre desire, Kamsa by fear.
Yeah.
By fear. Shishupal and other kings by envy. The Yadus by their familial relations with Krishna. You Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna. And we, the general devotees, by our devotional service, has obtained the mercy of Krishna. Comes out of fear.
Yeah, and then
You can call it Maya is also like fear, but it's not a rasa.
yeah,
It is just the fear of and thinking of Krishna because there is no relationship which is anukul, favorable. It was pratikul, therefore he ended up merging into the Brahma Jyoti of Krishna.
the 12 rasas are all anukul, favorable.
Yeah. All rasas are giving pleasure to Krishna.
And then Virya is also anukul.
Yes, Krishna is fighting with the. Of course, there are different levels of. If the goal is to please Krishna, is one thing.
Yeah.
Like these wrestlers in the arena of Kamsa, they were also giving pleasure to Krishna by fighting very nicely.
Yeah,
but their goal was to kill Krishna, therefore it is not considered bhakti.
Okay.
Whereas Mother Yashoda, twitching the ears of Krishna and putting Krishna outside her lap to go and fulfill the desire of putting down the pot of milk from the fire, that was Anukul. She was thinking of Krishna's satisfaction to make butter eventually.
Yeah.
Any other question? Rupini, Padma Devi, Abha, Mehra, all this, Ravi.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, you just mentioned about Yashoda. I mean, her love was so much so, and it's amazing that she was not even like the birth mother. She was they were foster parents, and so much love they showered on Krishna. So that's another a take for us that, how we distinguish in the material world the biological parents, foster parents, and sometimes attachment grows more, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, from the mother's side to a son, because, it's like the mother is given birth to a son. So, but here it was not like that. I mean, of course, Yashoda didn't know about it. She thought it's her own son only. and that's how she was raising him. I don't know whether she knew about it or not, that Krishna was foster.
Yeah.
Did she know about it?
Try to understand. Mother Yashoda gave birth to 2 children, Krishna and Yogamaya or Mahamaya. Okay, that's why the girl daughter was found on the bed, which Vasudeva Maharaj took it from there to Mathura. She is called Anuja, the younger sister of Krishna. So there were 2 kids were born to Mother Yashoda. Mother Nanda Baba, Vasudeva did not see the other son. He was lying on the other side of the body. On the left side was he saw this girl, and he put the child of Krishna there and left. And that Krishna merged into the body of the Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda. So Mother Yashoda is actually the mother of Krishna. And her another name is also called Devaki. She has 2 names. So Devaki, even though she appeared as a mother, that is the mother of Aishwari Bhakti. Whereas Mother Yashoda was Madhurya Bhakti. She was having the mamata, the real sense of belonging. Krishna is my son. And Krishna also thought, this is my mother. Where Devaki could not express so much, and Devaki hardly gave any milk to Krishna. A mother affection produces milk in the mother's breast. A foster mother cannot produce milk. She has to be her own son. So, you can be a surrogate mother, but you will not be able to produce milk from your breast. So these are all the nitty-gritty details about what is motherhood means. A cow can give milk when she sees the calf standing there. And sometimes what happens, the calf dies. So in South India, we remember they take everything out of the calf and they stuff hay in the calf's body, and he carries the calf on the back of his neck, and he keeps the calf at a little distance from the cow. The cow thinks this is my calf, and she releases milk. Yeah, we have seen it ourselves. We have seen it. They carry the dead calf on their neck, stuffed dead calf. Sometimes they have to do that so that she will see that calf and thinks that she's real, but actually cow cannot understand, distinguish between these two. And what to speak of when the calf is alive, and after that milking is done, the calf is released, and the calf comes running to the mother and starts sucking the breasts of the mother cow. So these are all special things that Mother Devaki never gave breast milk to Krishna. Never. Mother Yashoda gave. And then when the other elderly gopis saw Mother Yashoda, how with such affection she was feeding Mother Krishna, they also developed a certain desire. Oh, when will we ever get a chance to feed Krishna like this? So then in Brahma Vimohan Leela, Krishna became their mother, their son. And then for 1 full year, he sucked their breasts and drank their milk. Because he was replacing the actual original sons of the gopis. So they thought, this is my son, because he took that form, and then they gave so much milk. This way, he fulfilled the desire of drinking milk from their breast also. Not only from Mother Yashoda, but also from all the elderly gopis of Braj.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, like Yashoda was very, very fortunate to serve Krishna directly, but we are serving Krishna through chanting and following regulations, serving devotees and associating with devotees, right? So we are not in a position to serve Krishna directly like Yashoda and Nand Maharaj did. So should we feel like a regret in our heart that we're not able to serve Krishna like that? We're not in that position.
Arey Baba, you cannot serve Krishna What Mother Yashoda is doing, that is on the Siddha Deha. They are perfected bodies. You are just a conditioned soul struggling with the material senses and mind, and you have gotten this process of bhakti, and you have not perfected the process of bhakti. You are just struggling. And at this stage, we cannot start thinking, oh, I'm not the mother of Krishna. Your business is to hear Krishna's pastimes about as the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba, and be happy to hear such pastimes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And then when you develop prema, then when your spiritual body gets developed, Swarup Siddha Bhakti is called. At that stage and further, then also you will never become the mother directly. You will only become the maid servant of the mother of Krishna. After all the elderly gopis, they were all subjects of Nanda Baba and Yashoda. They were not really the mother in one sense, but they were actually mother. They had motherly feeling for Krishna, because Krishna was a beautiful young boy performing on wonderful pastimes, and they were absorbed. That Mother Yashoda is so fortunate to give so much milk. Even the milk which was on the fire, she thought, what is the use of my living? The Mother Yashoda has so much unlimited quantities of milk in her breast, because she has so much love for Krishna. What is the use of my living? Let me commit suicide. Then Mother Yashoda ran to the stove and put the milk, the pot of milk down. See? Because at this stage we may not understand. At this stage we may not understand the nitty-gritties of the techniques or mechanics of devotional life. But gradually, by the mercy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who has written Jaiva Dharma, you will hear all these details in a very minute way. Even Prabhupada has described all these things in Chaitanya Charitamrita, here, everywhere. But it will take a little time to understand all these things, because that depends on our bhajan adhikar. If our chanting is free from offenses, then we can understand certain depth of this understanding. And then your natural feelings for Krishna will awaken. Just because you are now in a mother stage doesn't mean you have understood what it means to have affection for Krishna. You have a certain faint understanding, a reflection. Like we as boys in India, at least we never had girlfriends. We don't know what it means to deal with a girl, because in India, generally people do get married, at least in respectable families. After marriage only they meet with a woman. Before marriage, they don't meet with a woman. They don't know what it means to have dealings with a woman. At the most, they may have a real interaction with their sister, but not with a woman who is like a lover or a servant or anything like that. We only have real dealings with boys. So when I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, I remember when I heard about the fire rasa, then for me, it was natural to think Krishna as a friend than as a lover. I never thought Krishna is my lover or something like that. Chalo bhai, Krishna is my friend, very good. I was happy with that. And gradually, now we are hearing more in the company, in the association, the guidance of advanced devotees. Certain things are now showing what is the speciality of Rupa Goswami and all these things. Then we understand a little bit of all these things. And then simultaneously, your bhajan adhikar has to go up from offensive stage to offenseless stage, then to pure stage. And when it is pure stage, then many things become revealed. Our spiritual body becomes revealed. Are we male? Are we female body in the spiritual world? You know, all the boys are having male bodies. All the gopis are having female bodies. Mother Yashoda is female, Mother Nanda Baba is male body. But they are all in their original spiritual constitutional position. Not like our men and women in the material world. Here nobody thinks he is a woman to begin with. Prakriti, everybody is thinking he is the enjoyer. Woman also is enjoying. Women they are more or less competitors to each other. They are not even acting like servants. The spiritual world, everybody is a servant. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Hara Sabhapritya. So we cannot compare our present position to, my feeling for Krishna as a mother. Our position is to just follow the process. And gradually, at some point,
also, like when we are, yeah, we cannot have that. I just wanted to hear my question was not appropriate, but I just wanted to reaffirm my faith uh, by telling you this, that the very fact that we are trying to serve some devotees, trying to follow the regulations, abhi itna is good, and I really feel that it's important to serve the Tulsi Maharani, because Tulsi Maharani is so great. We can do her seva now, since the spring and summer is coming. She's springing up, and like, so blossoming, so we can serve her. And also, so the basic crux of this whole thing is that we have to do seva. Whether the Prabhuji, one more thing, I was asking one person here, like when we do the arti, so why do we offer the agni, the fire? Why is that offered?
We are serving Krishna with all the elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. In Aarti, all the 5 elements are offered.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for the answer and the class, and we learned so much from you, and such funny questions come in our mind. But then, who else can we ask? We'll make a big fool of ourselves when we go and ask materialistic people. But in association with devotees, they put us on track and tell us that what our position is and how we are supposed to comply and go about doing bhakti, especially in situations where sometimes only one person is practicing at home. So thank you for your guidance, Prabhuji. Yeah, you're like a Shiksha Guru, helping us in our spiritual path. Hare Krishna.
There. Hare Krishna. All good. Okay. Any more questions before we turn on to a little bhajan? Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai. Bolo.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai.
Radha Ramana
Radha
Hari
Ramana Hari
Govinda Jai.
Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai.
Govinda
Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya
Jai Jai
Jaya.
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya
Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai.
Radha Ramana
Ramana
Hari
Hari
Govinda
Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Govind Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai.
Govind Jai.
Govinda Jai
Jai
Jai,
Jai
Gopal
Gopal
Jai
Jai
Jai.
Jai.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari, Govind Jai Jai.
Jai Jai Radha Hari. Jai Jai.
Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Jaya
Pada
Prabhupada, Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Guru Deva.
Gurudeva, Jaya
Guru
Guru
Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya
Deva,
Guru
Jaya Guru
Deva.
Deva.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur.
Jaya
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Go,
Jaya Nita.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Go.
Jaya Radha Raman, Jaya Radha Raman, Radha Raman, Jaya Radhe.
Jaya Radha Rama.
Radha
Jaya
Ramana
Radha.
Jaya Radha Ramana Jaya Radha Ramana
Jaya
Jaya
Radha.
Radhe.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol.
Jai Gaura Hari.
Hari
Bol, Hari
Bol,
Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Jai
Hari
Gaura
Bol.
Hari Bol, Jai
Gaur
Gora Hari Bol,
Preman, Nitai Gaur
Hari Hari
Premanande, Hari Hari
Hari Hari.
Bol.
Hari Bol.
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील
Jai
गुरुदेव की जय, गोविंदाय राधा रमन की
Jai
राजगिरी गोवर्धन की जय,
Jai.
निरंतर श्री भागवतम की जय, सुखदेव गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय हो, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल पर्पस की जय हो. All
Jai.
glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare
All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All
Hare
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada की जय.
His
Jai.
Grace Ram Shraddha Prabhu ki jai.
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 नाम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. वैष्णव
Thank
वृंद की जय.
thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
जय हो, जय हो, जय हो. See you all next time. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare
Sure,
Hare.
Prabhu. Thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhuji. 4:50
जय.
now. India 4:50 time till November.
अच्छा 450.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for your
Thank you.
association.
Hare Krishna.